What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I am Dylan, the Techno Giz Guy, and today we're going to learn how to remotely control some computers for free. Okay, so we're not talking about anything nefarious today or anything like that. Today we are just talking about accessing computers that you own and operate securely for free. Bonus points, it's open source. So you could go download something like TeamViewer or AnyDesk or GoToMeeting or one of those other big remote desktop solutions, but most of them cost money for you to have more than a couple of computers or have persistent logins so you can access on your phone or wherever you are. There's caveats. The solution I'm going to show you today, it's not without its downsides, but it's a pretty solid open source free approach to remote access. One downside that I have to say up front, it does not work on Mac. You can technically run the software on Mac, but the actual remote client does not work on Mac. It only works on Linux and Windows. So sadly, we're going to only be doing Windows today, so a couple things you're going to need to get started on this. First off, you're going to need Docker. Now, I'm not going to do a super extensive setup on Docker servers and whatnot like my setup is. Today, we're just going to install Docker Desktop. It's easy. Anyone can do it. And it's free. We all like free. Free is good. Free 99. Next thing we need is this program called Remotely. So this is kind of the interface that you can expect from Remotely. I run this in my home lab currently. This is my current method of accessing my servers. You get virtual desktop, you get command prompt access. All right, so let's start with Docker. We're going to download Docker full Windows, Docker Desktop, of course, because we want anyone to be able to do this. If you want to move this onto a Docker server, the instructions will be exactly the same. Also, the link to the GitHub as well as the Docker website will, of course, be in the description. Once it's done downloading, you can click it to open it, and you will get prompted with a Windows user account control unless you've disabled Windows user account control. I'm going to click yes, because I would like this to install on my computer. I'm just going to leave all these options default. You guys should too. If you can use WSL2, you should, because it's way better for Docker than WSL1. If you don't know what WSL is, it's the Windows subsystem for Linux. It allows a Linux operating system to run on top of Windows, kind of in a containerized environment, but it's also kind of not because it does have access to all the core systems. It's interesting. It works well. And especially if you do a lot of Docker stuff or you're getting into coding or anything like that, the Windows subsystem for Linux is essential. Okay, and once you're done, you have to close and you have to restart Windows after you do this. So let's restart Windows. Okay, so once you come back in, we're going to read the terms. We read the terms. All right, I'm going to use the recommended settings because there's nothing advanced going on here. It's just Docker. Docker is really simple. If you guys don't know Docker, you should learn Docker. There's a lot of videos on YouTube about Docker. I probably will have more videos about Docker coming. I'm going to continue without signing in, thank you. What is my role? Other. World. Domination. Okay, guys, so I could not get Docker to run on that VM for some reason that I use to film my videos. I have no idea why. I tried WSL. I tried Hyper-V. Made sure nesting was enabled in my Proxmox server. I have no idea. My main Docker server runs as a VM, so that should work. Anyway, I'm just going to spin this container up on my local machine. I already have Docker Desktop installed. It's running. It's the exact same configuration as the other machine, except my machine's Windows 11. That's the only difference. And the issue I ran into is a VM-specific issue. I literally just spent 20 minutes going through logs. It's something to do with the VM. I don't know what, and I don't really feel like diagnosing it right now because I got a video to shoot. My cameras have been rolling the whole time, and footage ain't cheap. Storage ain't cheap. Okay, guys. So we're in Docker, and I have a terminal window open. From in here, right on my C drive, I'm going to make a folder. Go into that folder. And we're going to make another folder called Remotely. Run this. All right, guys. So you can go to that link and just go to it from GitHub and download this file. Windows does not have wget. I think I can install it through some package manager in Windows, but it's just not worth it because I can just do this. This may try to save as a .txt file. Make sure you select all files here and then drop the txt extension so that way you just are getting a docker-compose.yml file. Save that because I need to edit that Docker compose file. So you cannot just put in like C:\/ in this because these Docker compose files don't know how to read that. Luckily, if you have the Linux subsystem for Windows installed, you can, in your terminal, just type in the word bash and get a bash terminal here. So I can nano this if I want, but real quick, I'm just going to copy this, and we can nano this. So now we actually get this, and I'm going to close Notepad++. I like nano. It's a little bit nice. We're going to come over here, paste that in there. So we're basically telling it that at Mount C Docker remotely, which is the location physically for Windows subsystem for Linux, then we're going to map that in Docker to app/app data. All right, so we're going to wait for this to pull all of its stuff. This is going to look a little similar to anything else you've probably done with Docker. If you followed along in our audio bookshelf video, we did it on Windows, but if you followed along using Docker, then this looks really familiar to that. Okay, guys, we are back in the Windows VM. I'm going to go to my computer's IP address, :5000, and you get a remotely login. So by default, there is no user account. We're going to register. Email. That's not a real email. That is a real domain, but that is not a real email. We're going to set a super secret password that's totally not going to be password because I'm going to destroy this when we're done. It's totally not going to be password with a capital P. It's totally not going to be password 1 with a capital P. We're going to save that. So this is what you see when you jump into the home screen. There's nothing here because we haven't installed this on any computers. That's actually why I jumped into this computer. We're going to jump into the deploy screen, copy this, and that doesn't want to copy to my clipboard. It probably does not have Edge clipboard permissions. So let's just do this, copy that. Let's open up an admin level PowerShell. Paste that in there. And you're going to get this. Now this is going to start downloading content from the remotely server, and in a second it's going to pop up and we should start seeing the installer come through. It'll download and then we'll see our computer pop up on the remotely window and we'll be able to control it. Okay, I think it's done. If it's done, that is way faster than it used to be. And it's right there. Okay, cool. So let me go over here. So now I'm just going to do this on my computer, my local machine here. I'm going to come up, click this. And actually, before we go into this machine, let's just look around a little bit. So you can see the user that's installed. You can see the platform. You can see the disk usage. There's multiple disks. You can see all of them. That's really cool. Memory usage, CPU usage. In my experience, the memory usage and storage usage is really accurate. The CPU usage is not. It's terrible. It usually always says like 0 or like 50 or 100. There's like no in between. It's not accurate at all. So you get storage, you get total memory. You can chat with that computer. You can view only, try to wake it up. You can upload a file. You can uninstall the jump client remotely. And then you can also see some things about it. So you can see its client ID, its IP address. You can see groups if you have groups created up. So if you have like servers, you can put them in a server group. Or you can put your computers in a computer group or your family is in a family. Let's jump in. Let's go to remote control. So you're probably going to get a pop-up warning on your browser. Just click through it again after you allow the pop-up. I'm going to allow my clipboard. Now you can see we have full remote access to this machine. Oh, and just to verify, this is the same machine. You can see this is our lovely little YouTube machine. Up here at the top, if you have multiple monitors, you can switch between the monitors, which is really cool. You can go into view-only mode, which means now I can't touch anything. You can type your clipboard back and forth. So there's no sharing of clipboards, sadly. That's one of the big features I wish this had was clipboard sharing. If you have something in your local computer's clipboard and you come to, try to type it, then you can actually just type this, hit that, and it'll paste it in. It works. It's not quite as elegant, but it works. What in the hell did I just do? Make Explorer full screen. You can also block remote input, which is really cool. And this works. So I have that set up. So now I can control the computer. But if I jump back over to my remote desktop, I cannot control the computer via remote desktop. I've essentially locked the user out. I'm not sure how they do that, but it's really cool to have because I can't tell you how many times as an IT technician that makes service calls to customers, I can't tell you how many times customers will sit there and touch the mouse or the keyboard while you're remoted into their computer trying to do something. You're like, can you stop? Oh, sorry. And then they do it again. So that's one of the things that can happen. If you tab out, it can like lose the session and like kind of freak out. There's also a timeout of like 20 minutes, I think. Yeah, you can do remote control stuff. Up here, you can go full screen. You can hit your Windows button. Since if you hit your Windows key now, it's just going to hit the Windows key on my local machine. So you can change the session. So on Windows, this doesn't do a whole lot, but on Linux, this would be kind of cool. You can change the virtual desktop you're viewing. Right now, I'm looking at the same desktop as it is because Windows only has like one desktop setting. There's the full screen. And then you can do audio. You can turn audio on so you'll get audio from the machine. You can file transfer. If there's other people who have access to your remotely server, you can invite them to this. And you can also get fancy little nerd metrics. So if I come in and start doing some stuff. Now, this isn't super high performance, but it's not supposed to be. This is for remote management, not gaming. So you can install things, support clients. One thing I really like about this, if I close my session here and back out here, I can go to the terminal button and I can click this and I can run an IP config on this machine, on this YouTube VM. I'm able to run an IP config. If there was with Linux, I would be able to tap into the bash script and run any bash command I wanted. I would have full shell access, and that's all right here. You can also configure quick script. I don't have any saved, but you can come over here, and if you know what you're doing with like scripting, PowerShell core, and bash, and all that, you can make a script here and save it and then run it on a computer, which would be really cool if you have like group policies or domain joining or anything you're doing a lot of, or maybe you host your own time server for some reason and you're setting your own time. I don't know what you're doing in your home lab. This is my home lab. I'm just showing you how to remote access the servers. User options. So you can change a different name for when there's remote support clients. I don't use this for the remote support feature. I use this so that way I can access my servers. You can do a light theme. I'll turn it on for you, but it hurts. This is the light theme. This hurts. Under organization, you can enter a name here. We're going to call this the Techno-Giz Guy crew. That's what we are. And yeah, that's it. We can add groups here. So servers, family, personal. So you can add groups here, add the servers to different groups and whatnot. We can also invite other people and make user accounts for them. So you can see my user account here. Then you can come to branding. Here's something really cool. You can actually change like what this says, and you can upload your own icon. So you can really customize this to be yours. They have an API. I have no idea what the API does. I'm sure their GitHub mentions it somewhere, but I have no idea. I've never used it, but it's there. Server logs, you can see all the different logs and whatnot. They have this filter situation here. It's kind of like how Portainer filters logs. I don't like it, but it's okay. I don't have enough problems where I'm checking logs to really care, so I don't care. And then server config is the settings that which you will configure for the entire server. So this is where you can do like allow API login, or you can allow recording of remote control, an event log, and attended access, which means somebody has to be at the computer. They can't just remote in without anyone there. You can force HTTPS. Known proxies is really important because if you're hosting this in your home lab and you want to access it outside of your home lab, you're either going to have to port forward and go to your and use like a DNS name or use like a Cloudflare tunnel or a VPN or something like that. Make sure whatever, if you're trying to access this through like a local domain name, make sure you add that into here so you don't get any errors. You can also have this send emails out to people. It supports cores. It does have built-in two-factor authentication. It is just an authenticator app. It's not YubiKey or anything. That'd be cool, but hey, it works. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been remotely. It's not as feature-packed as it could be, but it's an open source free program. And you can run it at home. You can run it behind a VPN and have access to all your servers, or use a Cloudflare tunnel or anything like that. I actually probably will have a video on Cloudflare tunnels coming soon because a big portion of my network relies on them. I have a backup solution in the event that Cloudflare dies, but right now I do rely on Cloudflare. But that's the video, guys. Remotely is great. It's not without its problems. Like I mentioned, it can occasionally drop sessions and have some glitches, but I expect some problems out of something open source, and at least I don't have to pay for it and go get a license to access my own computers. Like, there's a lot of stuff in my rack, and then I have my personal computer, and I have my work computer. I wish this worked for Mac so I could access my MacBook, but for now. Anyway, guys, I am Dylan, the TechnoGiz guy. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. Open source, free 99. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, please subscribe. It helps out. Liking, subscribing, commenting. It helps. I try to reply to every comment. I really do. I work a day job, but I'm always trying to look for comments and reply to them. So please comment, like. It helps a lot. We're trying to grow. So far, the response from you guys has been great. Love it. I love seeing it. I want to do more of this. And I got really big plans coming. They're at the notebook phase right now, but they're coming. So stay tuned, guys. See ya.